Okay, I'm back with another video, folks, and I'm gonna show you today what I got at uh the Strasburg Day Out with Thomas this year with 2025 for the 80th anniversary. But now I did not get this at Day Out with Thomas like I did with that motorized Thomas and everything that I did a video on. So this I got at the Strasburg train shop. I think that's the name of it. It's the one that's next to the choo-choo barn. That's like maybe about 20-30 seconds down the road from the Strasburg Railroad. So yeah, I figure I show you what I got at the Strasburg train shop. And yeah, so let's get to it. Actually, no, start off with Terrence. So I got Terrence the Tractor. I finally have the Bachmann version of Terrence the Tractor. Alright. Is there any more on here? No. Wait. I don't know. I was going to say. Alright. So that's Terrence the Tractor. And then this is one out of the 6 figures for the Thomas H.L. line for Bachmann. This one is the one with the pigs. This is Farmer, Trotter, and Pigs. And oh yeah, there's all the other 6 right there. As you can see, there's those 6. This is one of them out of the 6, so there's that one. Here's the second one out of the 6. This one's the Hat family. Or is it the Top Hat family? No, it's the Hat family. Alright. And then, yep, same thing on the back. There's 2. Alright. Here's the third one out of the 6. This one, oh, it's railway personnel. Wait, is it? Yep, railway personnel. Alright. Alright, there's 3. And then here's 4. Farmer McCall's sheepdog and sheep. That's 4 out of the 6. And then wait, where'd the other one go? Oh, there it is. That's the teacher with school children. The teacher right there, and the other figures are the school children. All right. Alright, though, so unfortunately, I was not able to find the 6th one. Alright, they did not have the 6th one at the Strasburg train shop. I tried looking for it. I asked the dude up at the counter to like check to see if they had it though. So he went on the computer and looked on their website to see if they had it in stock, and no, they unfortunately did not. And so, and I'm like, all right, you know what, I'm just gonna get all 5 of these, and then I'll just get the 6th one on Train World or Amazon or eBay, I don't know. But yeah, that one is, yeah, the one that's missing is the narrow gauge personnel. I think that's the name of it. I know the name of it's on here. Is it yep, narrow gauge personnel. It's that one right there. Right there, narrow gauge personnel. Oh, why is there hair on there? Alright. All right, I think these can go on the engines or something. I don't know, but yeah. And you know what? I actually, out of all the figures right here that I have, that out of all the figures right here that I have, out of the 6, well, now that I have 5 out of the 6, I'm gonna say I actually kind of like them. They're actually pretty cool, but I'll say, you know what? I'm looking more at this one because on my future HO N scale layout, I know I haven't mentioned my future HO scale and N scale layout in a while, but I figure I mentioned it again, that maybe I'll give you one. Maybe this will be kind of a little bit of a hint or a clue, but I'll say it this way though, because I don't want to give too much detail away, but this is what I'll say. If I have enough room on my future HO layout, if I could find a section that has some like space or room or whatever on my future HO layout, maybe, just maybe, I'll build the schoolhouse from Thomas and Friends. And like these ones, like the teacher with the school children right here, yeah, the teacher with the school children right here, that will go with the schoolhouse. If I even decide to add or build a schoolhouse on my future HON layout, and maybe I'll have room, I'm not sure, but yeah, hopefully I do. And then these right here, like these can go for like these can go on like the engines of Thomas and everything for the HO line. And then right here can be like a display and everything, maybe on like Terrence's field or Farmer McCall farm or whatever. And same thing with like Farmer Trot or whatever. But then again though, folks, just because I'm planning something special for my future HO layout, because I want my future HO layout to be the one where you glue down the track, and same thing for N scale too, because my future HO scale and N scale layout for both of those, I want, yeah, for my future HO and N scale layout, I want both of those future layouts for HO scale and N scale to be the glue down track. And for mostly HO scale, I want it to be completely Thomas and Friends, and for N scale, part Thomas and Friends, because I'm not that familiar with the narrow gauge scenery or whatever from Thomas and Friends. Like I'm not that too familiar with it like I am with like the standard gauge engines like Thomas, like them, like that. I'm not too familiar with the narrow gauge railway or whatever of like Scarlowy, Peter Sam and them. But like the only thing I'm pretty much familiar with it is Croven's Gate Station, the Blue Mountain Quarry, like the depot, and what else? And that's pretty much that though, folks. And oh yeah, and then that incline too and everything from like the episode when like Scarlowy like went up the incline or something, and then in that like one episode or something, but I forget the name of the episode though. I think it was named Scarlowy the Great, I think. Yeah, I think that was the name of the episode. I don't know, but yeah, but you know, maybe I'll give a couple more hints. All right, here's the couple more hints. My HO layout, these are for the future layouts, all right? For my HO layout, I want it to be like close to 100% I want it to be close to one. I would like it to be close to 100% of like Thomas and Friends, and end scale to be like kind of half Thomas and Friends and half not, because with end scale I think I'm gonna have it. I think with my end scale layout, yeah, folks, I think with my end scale layout, and I'll say this too, that with my end scale layout, I'm planning to have my end scale layout both DC and DCC if it's possible. Then if I can't do both DC and DCC for my end scale layout, then I'll have to think of something else for it. And for my future HO layout, I want that one DC, since most of my Thomas models of HO are all Bachmann, as you guys already know, and I've been mentioning so many times how I want like this and that and everything. Which, by the way, folks, like every time that I like keep mentioning like all like the Bachmann stuff that's discontinued, currently on sale, coming out in the future, of Thomas and Friends and Thomas trains and not related Thomas trains, of like model train scales or like Trackmaster whatever, or battery operated trains whatever. And with like some of the with all those that I mentioned, of like some of them being that I may or may not collect or get into whatever, and some that I will never collect in my life, which, because one of them is all engines go. Anything all engines go I will not collect. And like certain like motorized trains or whatever of like the new line for like this year and everything, the 2025 that everybody's in love with and everything, and it's going viral and everything. That the same thing with like how I've been talking about my Bachmann models of Thomas and not related Thomas trains and O scale trains, how I'm trying to find all the missing parts to and everything, and that if I end up not finding all of them, and the ones that I don't find the missing parts to, if I want to like rebuy it though, which I don't, that I'm sorry folks, yeah, I'll stop mentioning all of those and everything, every video and everything. I'll stop mentioning it going forward. All right, I apologize. And yeah, I'm just gonna collect the trains that make me happy and everything, what I want to collect and everything. And yeah, and usually when I talk about like the things of like trains that I may or may not collect, or trains that I will never collect, that like that I will stop mentioning though, as I mentioned it so many times, and I do apologize, because folks, and yeah, and I'll stop mentioning too of like trains that like do count, don't count, and how I want to complete all 4 model train scale collections with Thomas and Friends of HO Bachmann, N Bachmann, HO narrow gauge Bachmann, and O scale Lionel for Thomas and Friends, that of the items discontinued, currently on sale, coming out in the future for those, and how if I find like if I find all the other ones and I just end up not finding the discontinued items, that like I'll be okay with that. But if I do find the discontinued items as well for all 4 of those collections, if I find the discontinued items as well for all 4 of those collections, that's the bigger celebration right there. Like every single one, that then I can put a check mark at every single one of those like collections and everything. Basically 4 check marks. 1 check mark for HO Bachmann, 1 check mark for N Bachmann, 1 check mark for HO narrow gauge Bachmann, and 1 check mark for O scale Lionel of Thomas and Friends. Because once I do that, that'll mean I'll have every single item of engines, rolling stock, action figures like this, accessory like this, scenery like Nafford or whatever, like you name it, the list goes on. Yeah, or scenery, you name it, folks. That's what it comes down to. That like once I have all those and everything, that you know what that means, that then, because once I have all of those, though, because it has to be the ones discontinued currently on sale and coming out in the future, like I have to have every single one in the collection, so then that way I can put a check mark up at all of those and everything. But for the ones coming out in the future, those ones I can only for the ones coming out in the future, they won't count right away until they are currently on sale and available for release and everything, where you can buy them. That then they count once they become available. But as they're marked as the ones that are coming out in the future that are not out yet, they don't count yet. But once they do become available, then they do count. So yeah. So yeah, folks. And yeah, I'll definitely stop mentioning that too and everything, folks. Yeah, I do apologize. And the same thing, if I might collect some of the Hornby Thomas trains, or what though, of only the engines and rolling stock of the Hornby ones only, and not all the other ones of the scenery stuff from like Hornby and everything. Basically, I collected only the Hornby engines and Hornby rolling stock of Thomas and Friends, made in Hornby but not Bachmann. Yeah, same thing like Z scale, everything, because folks, yeah, it's all on my YouTube community post. If you guys want to go check it out, but YouTube community post, whatever you want to call it, but mostly YouTube post is what they call it, I believe. If you guys want to go check it out, go ahead, because it's all on there of like trains that I collect, do not collect, and will not collect. And like same thing though about how about of like talking like trains that I like may or may not collect, or like trains that and same thing with like trains that I don't collect. That for trains that I may or may not collect, and trains that I don't collect, that I might change my mind though, and might want to collect them though. But mostly like the ones that I don't want to collect, mostly the ones that I don't want to collect, folks, those ones I'm 100% not collecting, the ones that I don't want to collect. But I could change my mind, but mostly not. I will never change my mind. But the ones that I may or may not collect, that's a potential, like 50-50. But those are the ones we have to see about. The ones that I may or may not collect. The ones that the ones that I will never collect, those ones I'll never collect. Unless I change my mind last minute, but mostly not. I'm not going to change my mind. So, yeah, those I'll stop mentioning too and everything, folks. And same thing like the new motorized Trackmaster line for Thomas and everything for 2025 with the CGI line of like the motor engine with the long gray coupler and the red throttle attached to that black chassis or something of the same thing that was used for the All Engines Go motorized Thomas trains. And like same thing with the All Engines Go rolling stock that was reused for the new CGI motorized line and everything. Those I'll stop talking about too, and how I feel like all of them is secretly, all of it is like secretly All Engines Go, and now they're bought that, and how Mattel is like they basically reusing them just for the new motorized line and everything. But yeah, no, because even though they used to use those for All Engines Go, and now they're using the same product for the motorized line with the CGI, those don't bother me at all. Those don't bother me at all that they used to be All Engines Go, because even though they were All Engines Go, that it doesn't bother me at all that they used to be All Engines Go, and underneath it is All Engines Go for sure. But it's not fully All Engines Go, because it's now turned into like the CGI style and everything. But yeah, but if it was 100% All Engines Go, like it was an actual All Engines Go train, engine, and rolling stock, and or even like advertised as All Engines Go, showing off that it's All Engines Go, then yeah, I 100% would not collect that. And yeah, those folks I will I will stop mentioning too, and same thing like how I feel like half the rolling stock for the CGI motorized line is all engines go, and half of them are not. Like those I'm gonna stop mentioning too, and I do apologize that I keep mentioning it. So yeah, and yeah, I'll just stop mentioning it, folks. I feel like I talk too much about it, but yeah. And then same thing, like how about when I get like trains that like count or do not count or whatever, and yeah, and like other Thomas HO N scale and O scale trains of like different HON and O companies. Same thing with HO narrow gauge, other HO narrow gauge companies out there that make Thomas and Friends, that I won't be collecting like Thomas from like other brands as well. But yeah, basically folks, I'll just stop mentioning and everything, and same thing, like if I have like a Thomas train or something that like that, or if I want to get like an extra of something or whatever that I already have, whether I got it in a set or separately, and I want to get extras of it or whatever, that I'm gonna stop mentioning that as well. Because basically folks, it's all on my YouTube posts and everything, as I think that's what they call it, YouTube posts, because what you'll see on my YouTube posts is what I like collect, do not collect, and may or may not collect. And yeah, because for example folks, like since I have the Percy, and you know, I'll just stop mentioning about like how I feel like it's not like necessary to like also like get something that I already have that I got in a set, or something that I already have that I got separately but not in the set, like things like that. And same thing like the remakes and everything, or the OGs redesign or whatever, like those I'll stop mentioning too and everything, because at this point I just rather, you know, I just waste my time, waste all my film and everything just talking about it, because it's like, you know, at this point I should just enjoy my collection and everything, and I should just stop talking about it and just enjoy what I love collecting and everything, you know. So yeah, and same thing with all the missing pieces too and everything from my HO and O trains and everything, whether it's engines or like rolling stock, Thomas, not Thomas at all, or whatever. Yeah, you know what I mean. But I'll say another thing for an example or something, that because I said before though that like now I have Percy and the Troublesome Truck set for N scale Bachmann. As you guys saw, it came with the Percy and 2 Troublesome Trucks, Troublesome Truck 1 and Troublesome Truck 2, and those came in a set, and I did not get Percy and Troublesome Truck 1 and Troublesome Truck 2 separately, because I wanted to get the set instead, which I did. And that's what I mean folks, since I have the set, that it's not necessary, that it doesn't count to get Percy, Troublesome Truck 1 and Troublesome Truck 2 separately, because it just doesn't make sense to, because why waste my money that way when it's the same exact thing. And yeah, those I'll stop mentioning too and everything folks, and I do apologize, but because yeah, I also have the Thomas with Annie and Clarabelle set, and also I have the Emily passenger set for N scale Bachmann, which I do have it. And same thing goes with those ones too, like the Emily's passenger set comes with Emily, her regular coach and brake coach, and the Thomas with Annie and Clarabelle set, well of course it comes with Thomas, Annie, and Clarabelle. And that's what I mean folks. I know I mentioned it before, that why get Emily, her regular coach and her brake coach separately as well, and why get Thomas, Annie, and Clarabelle separately as well when I already have them in a set. Because since I already have those in a set, that it doesn't make sense to get them separately as well when they're the same exact thing. And like I said with Percy and the Troublesome Truck set too, that it doesn't make that, since it comes with Percy, Troublesome Truck 1, and Troublesome Truck 2, Percy and the Troublesome Truck set, it does not make any sense to get Percy, Troublesome Truck 1, and Troublesome Truck 2 separately as well. It doesn't make sense to, because the set already comes with them and everything, that it just doesn't make sense to. And you guys probably know what I mean, because, and it would be the opposite too of like, if I bought like a few rolling stock, maybe let's say 2 rolling stocks and 1 engine of Thomas and Friends in either HO scale or N scale or O scale, let's say, or HO narrow gauge, that if I bought 2 rolling stocks and 1 engine of those for Thomas and Friends separately, and then I either did not know, or they end up adding those, or they end up adding those into like a set or something, that doesn't count out, because when I have the 2 rolling stocks and the engine of Thomas and Friends separately, when I bought them separately and they make it into a set, or I never knew that they existed in a set or something that's discontinued or whatever, like that's what I mean, folks, is that like it doesn't like count though at all. So like, you guys know what I mean, everything. Yeah, I'll stop mentioning that, everything. Or if it's like a remake or something, or now if there's a remake or like an OG of something though, whether it's the same item number or not, or if something's like different or what though, that was not announced as it's a remake or redesign, whatever you want to call it. And same thing with YouTubers, like yeah, those I'll stop mentioning too and everything though, folks. So yeah, it's saying like how like the things nowadays are modern and everything, like trains and stuff. Yeah, like I'll like stop mentioning all that and everything, folks, because yeah, I do apologize. And yeah, like I'll like stop mentioning all that and everything, folks, because yeah, I know I talk about it a lot though, because from now on going forward with my future videos, I'm just gonna, you know, sit back, relax, enjoy my train collection, and just enjoy like buying trains that I love and everything. And yeah, because the trains that I collect, do not collect, may or may not collect, it's all on my YouTube community thing, and much more is on there too, of like my opinions and stuff or whatever, or things that I'm not sure of or whatever. Anything at all that's related to trains or whatever. Whoops. Yeah, it's all on my YouTube posts and everything. So yeah, then I don't gotta keep mentioning it anymore. So yeah, I apologize once again, folks. So yeah, I'll stop mentioning that. And yeah, so, but these I'm gonna keep in the package right now, as these I look at as more collector's items until I have my future HO and N scale layout going, because my future HO and N scale layout, I want that to be a surprise. I know I gave some more hints, updates, and details about it though, about my HO and N scale layout for the future. That's as far as I'm gonna go with that though, because I really want the rest of it to be a surprise, folks. And yeah, I'm sure you guys are gonna love it. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, I'm not gonna give any more spoilers about my future HO and N scale layout, because I want the rest to be a big, massively surprise. All right. Okay. All right. Now that I got everything off my chest though, and oh wait, that's what else too. I forgot. I got 2 more things in this bag too. Okay, folks, I know I did mention the, and yeah, I know I said I was gonna stop mentioning everything like this and that, blah 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 blah, and everything, but like, and like more thing, and like if there's, and like more things that I've talked about though that I forgot to mention. Yeah, more things that I have mentioned before that I forgot to mention in this video, of like whatever though. And when I quickly or solely remember that I forgot to like mention them in this video, like 5 or 10 minutes after this video is posted or whatever, or it's ended or whatever, that if I do like remember, meaning that I forgot or whatever, that basically that in my next video I wouldn't like mention in my next video though, like what I forgot to mention and everything, because basically, folks, yeah, I'm not like that anymore. I just rather, just keep collecting trains, and what makes me happy is what makes me happy. Okay. So I figure I say that, but yeah, that's all I'll say though, folks. And kind of forgot how I said it or whatever, but hey, it is what it is though. I'm just gonna leave it at that though, and yeah. But the one thing I'll say though is that yes, I am gonna find the. Oh yeah, and same thing though, folks, and like how I'm getting closer to like finding. Actually, maybe the only one thing maybe I'll only keep mentioning a little bit there and there is that how close I am to how close I am, like very close to like collecting the entire collection of like one of my four Thomas and Friends model train scale collections, which you guys already know what I mean. HO Bachmann, N scale Bachmann, HO narrow gauge, and O scale Lionel. How close I am, like pretty much very close to like completing the entire collection or something. Yeah, maybe that's the only thing I'll probably keep mentioning is a little bit of that there and there. What I will say though, folks, is that the closest one that it is I'm saying is my HO narrow gauge collection. That's the closest one that I'm close to like completing, and like giving it the check mark. But then if other items come out or get announced by Bachmann, then what do? I just take that check mark off for HO narrow gauge until I collect the ones that are coming out in the future for like the next announcement or whatever. Then once I collect those, then I put the check mark back on. But yeah, I'll mention that a little bit there and there, which that's probably the only thing that I'll mention. So yeah, all right, that's enough, folks. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, enough talk. So yeah, and if you guys are wondering why I have this band-aid on me, well, I gave myself a little cut and I'm okay now. It's healing and everything. And yeah. So yeah. And folks, back to the and yeah, like I said, I do apologize, folks. And yeah, I'll definitely stop and everything though, and yeah, so folks, I'm also just gonna really quick though, I just want to mention the Percy and the Troublesome Truck N scale set really quick. That yeah, I know I said since I have all three of the N scale Bachmann Thomas and Friends set, the Emily's Passenger set, Thomas, Annie, and Clarabelle set, Percy and the Troublesome Truck set, since I have all of them and the items that come with like which set and everything, that I know I mentioned this 15-20 minutes ago or so, that that basically like it wouldn't, like how I said that it would not count, and it would not make that, it would not count and it would not make sense. It would not count and it would not make sense. It would make 0 sense. It would make 0 sense to also buy those items that came in those sets separately as well. I mentioned in my other videos before and everything. But yeah, but with the Percy and the Troublesome Truck set, It's a little bit different though, because when it comes to the troublesome trucks, me personally, I just love, for some reason, I just love, absolutely love, I just love to have extra troublesome trucks in my 4 model train scale collections. Well, mostly, like my H.O. Bachmann, N scale Bachmann, and actually, yeah, mostly my H.O. scale and mostly my H.O. Bachmann and N scale Bachmann collections. I love to have like extra troublesome trucks for those. Yeah, H.O. narrow gauge Bachmann, like they don't have those, they don't have the troublesome trucks. And O scale Lionel, the H.O. narrow gauge Bachmann, they don't have the troublesome trucks. And O scale Lionel, they have the troublesome trucks, but a lot of them have like the different faces and everything. But since mostly I'm into HO scale first the most, and then N scale I'm into the second most. It's N scale and HO scale I would collect extra troublesome trucks from the most, since that's what the most I do is HO scale and N scale. And since I do have the Percy and the troublesome truck set, I have for N scale Bachmann, as it comes with one troublesome truck 1 and it comes with one troublesome truck 1 and one troublesome truck 2 and one Percy engine, that it just would not absolutely make sense. It would make 0 sense to buy Percy, troublesome truck 1 and troublesome truck 2 separately, because why buy them separately when they come in the set and it's the same exact thing, unless it's like a different design or something or what. But they look the same to me and everything. And no, and I'll stop mentioning like the different designs too and everything, how some of them look different, how they're all modern today and everything with Thomas and everything, like the different, and everything, and like how I don't want to collect this or whatever, since I already have it, even though they look a different way now or in a modern way or whatever, whether it's the same item number or it's a different item number. Same thing with the redesigns and everything, remakes, OGs, whatever, like different item numbers or the same item numbers or whatever, remakes or whatever. Those I'm going to stop mentioning, all right? I will stop mentioning all that, folks, and I do apologize. So yeah, this is the night that I'm making my apology noticeable for that. What you will start hearing from me going forward. So yeah. Alright, now that I got everything off my chest that I had to say, and once again, folks, things that I have forgotten to mention on this video that I forgot to mention, in this video that I would have apologized that I would never mention ever again as well, that I forgot to say. Then once I remember what that was that I forgot to say, and if I did forget to say something that I forgot to say on here, then what I promise, folks, is that I will not go back. I will not on my next YouTube video. I promise you, I will not say what I forgot to say it was, because right now I'm at a point where I just don't care, and yeah, I'm just gonna collect what I want to collect and what makes me happy, all right, now that I've said all of that and everything, because with the Percy and the troublesome truck set, but when it comes to the troublesome trucks are different, because I love to have extra troublesome trucks in my N scale Bachmann collection, an HO scale Bachmann collection that, since I have 8 troublesome trucks for my HO scale Bachmann collection, now, folks, I can say I now officially have extra troublesome trucks for my N-scale Bachmann collection. I now have extra troublesome trucks. I finally have extra troublesome trucks for my N-scale Bachmann collection. Oh yes, I do. This is the troublesome truck 1. That's the troublesome truck number 1. There's that. And here's troublesome truck number 2. Number 2. Okay. So yeah, folks. Because it's one thing that, because even though I have the troublesome trucks, even though I have troublesome truck 1, yeah, even though I have troublesome truck 1 and troublesome truck 2 in the Percy and the troublesome truck set, even though I have those in the Percy and the troublesome truck set that it came with for N-scale Bachmann, that these are items that do make sense. Well, for others it would not make sense to. Well, for others it would not make sense for them to get these separately as well, along with the other stuff. But for me, my opinion, I just love to have extra troublesome trucks but for me, this is one thing, because I love to have extra troublesome trucks. So I figured, you know what? It can't hurt to get the troublesome truck 1 and a troublesome truck 2 separately as well, even though I already have them, because I just love to have extra troublesome trucks. And yeah, things like that, folks, I will stop mentioning too. And I do apologize. So yeah. Yeah, I think these are a little bit darker than the ones that came in the Percy and the troublesome truck set, I think. These kind of look a little bit darker. I'm not really sure, but yeah. Yeah, and same thing, like how everything's like made in like a modern way or something or whatever. Though the same thing with O scale or whatever, like this and that, and HO narrow gauge and everything. They got like with stuff that's made in a modern way that nowadays that I have, but I don't have the modern version of it or whatever, and they look the same exact thing, whether it's HO Bachmann, N Bachmann, O Lionel, and HO narrow gauge Bachmann, that for those 4 Thomas & Friends train scale collections, I will stop mentioning those 2 and everything. So yeah. But basically anything, folks, so, or anything that I've never, or even anything that I've never said before or whatever about something with trains or the scales or whatever, that, yeah, those I'm almost stop mentioning those and everything, and I won't even mention them. Mostly I'm just not gonna mention any of those. So I'm just gonna enjoy the collection of what I love and have a lot of fun. So yeah. But these I'm gonna have to do. These folks, I unfortunately, folks, have to do a separate video, a separate unboxing video for the troublesome trucks here, because obviously these are N scale, that basically that this would have to, these I would have to go do an unboxing video of at my N scale layout. So yeah, so I have to wait while I'm at my N scale layout to, well, next time when I'm at my N scale layout, whenever I use my N scale layout again, is whenever folks, all right, whenever folks I decide, yeah, whenever folks I go and use my N scale layout again, when I have time to use my N scale layout again, I will do an unboxing video of Troublesome Truck 1 and Troublesome Truck 2. So yeah. And yeah, I know I said too how I was gonna like stop mention like this and that, like things that I have that I bought separately that's also sold in a set, how it doesn't make sense to like buy the set of like items that I already have separately. That same thing of the opposite, that items that I have that I got in a set, that it doesn't make sense to buy them separately as well, that like, or it would just have to like depend on everything, folks, like how I feel though, or if I'm open to like something, or like whatever though and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's a long story though, and I'm not gonna mention it though, but yeah, because mostly if I want to buy something separately and in a set at the same time, that it would just have to depend like what it is or something. Just like with the Percy and the Troublesome Truck set I got, which the Troublesome Trucks came with it, and I also got the Troublesome Trucks separately as well. So yeah, that is that, folks. All right, here we go, folks. This is what I have, folks. So yeah, these are the things that I got at Strasburg Train Shop. All right. So yeah, once again, folks, I know I apologize many times about about everything that I'll stop mentioning, everything though, about this and that, blah 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 blah. And yeah, and I just remembered, folks, yes, folks, I did forget to mention something that I was gonna apologize about too. But you know what? A, I already apologized enough times, and B, I'm not gonna say what it is that I forgot though and just remembered, because I'm over it now. That I just gonna move forward and stuff, and that's pretty much it. Alrighty, folks. Alright. So yeah, folks. So yeah. I figure let it be. I'm just gonna enjoy my trains and everything. And yeah, I figure, you know what? Let my fans out there go on my YouTube post to see trains I collect, do not collect, and may or may not collect. And like trains that I may or may not change my mind about if I want to collect or whatever, that I change my mind about, of like ones that I may or may not collect, or in a rare possibility, potential, a very rare, like a 0.1 chance, meaning very rare, that I might change my mind at a 0.1% chance of wanting to collect some trains, such as like All Engines Go or whatever, though. Like different types of trains, like model trains, whatever, of scales that I never want to collect. Like that I do want to collect though. That I do not want to collect though, and I want to change my mind and want to end up collecting them. Those are 0.1% chances, and those I'll stop mentioning too and everything, folks. So I'm gonna stop mentioning it and all that, folks. Even everything about how everything is modern today and everything, and about if I should rebuy this that I already have or what though, and like even though with the missing pieces and everything. But yeah, folks, I'm just gonna stop mentioning everything though. I'm just gonna enjoy everything, and I really, really deeply apologize. Hopefully, people and like my fans out there forgive me and everything. So yeah. Folks, but the only thing I'm probably gonna keep mentioning a little bit there and there is about only my H.O. Bachmann, N scale Bachmann, H.O. narrow gauge Bachmann, and O scale Lino. Of those four model train scale collections of Thomas and Friends, of those four model train scale collections of Thomas and Friends. I will stop talking about I will stop talking about like the ones that are discontinued currently on sale and coming out in the future, but I might mention it a little bit there and there, but because the most thing I'll probably keep mentioning is the most thing I'll probably keep mentioning a little bit there and there mostly is just about like whichever of those four model train scale collections of Thomas and Friends that I'm close to like completing and everything. And I know I said it earlier that HO narrow gauge is pretty much what I'm close to of like completing and everything though. And like N scale though, Bachmann, I could have put the check mark up there for N scale Bachmann because I have every single item of Thomas and Friends in N scale Bachmann that is currently available on sale right now. That I have every single one and everything, including like the 3 sets and all the other items that come in those 3 sets that are sold separately. They do not count because I got them in the set and not separately, so the ones that are separately do not count since I have them in the sets. But except that I decided, you know what, I might as well get Troublesome Truck 1 and 2 separately as well, which I did. So I have every single Thomas N scale Bachmann item that's currently available for sale. I have every single one that's currently available for sale, but